only states is that derivative trades made from the promoters' personal accounts were recorded as corporate revenue earned by the company, thereby artificially boosting turnover. If we carefully observe SEBI's interim order, one thing becomes clear. The regulator has clearly stated that there were no approvals from the board or even the minimum documentation related to using the promoter's personal accounts for company trades. The mechanism behind this fraud is mind-blowing. They created a scenario where 97% to 99% of the income shown by the company appeared to have come from unverifiable overseas subsidiaries. Not only that, there were fake investments of approximately 135 crores in African gold mines, and the diversion of 339 crores to a promoter's Monzo camping on a personal accounts without any permission. On top of this, not providing forensic auditors access to their ERP systems and primary books highlights the severity of the situation. Section 3. The market impact. Let's analyze how the stock collapsed after these truths came out. As expected, the market reaction turned into a nightmare for the shareholders. The stock price, which peaked at nearly 946 in February 2023, crashed to 98 rupees by June 2026. Okay, 2000 That is a literal 90% decline. Following the SEBI order,
as expected, the market reaction turned into a nightmare for the shareholders. The stock price, which peaked at nearly 946 in February 2023, crashed to 98 rupees by June 2026.
To highlight how tragically the money of innocent public investors evaporated due to artificial numbers and false accounting.
Following the SEBI order, as expected, the market reaction turned into a nightmare.
Institutions and politics. Let's see who all is in this entire episode. Looking at the breakdown of the ownership structure makes the situation clearly understandable. Promoter Rajesh Mehta still holds a majority control of over 54%, but a large institutional investor like LIC with 10.88% as well as many retail investors holding over 34% are trapped badly in this massive crash. Another interesting aspect here is the debate surrounding this issue. A major question is why an organization like LIC kept its 10.8% stake intact even as the stock was falling so much and so many red flags were visible. On the other hand, opposition leaders are demanding to know how a 1.5 trillion rupee affair went unnoticed for 4 years. Additionally, an 18,100 crore rupee government contract for batteries in 2022 being awarded to a jewelry firm, and some show-cause notices from 2009 resurfacing are fueling further suspicions in this story. We are not taking any sides here. We are only looking at the facts. Section 5. Calculating the true value, the zero test. This is an interesting part. Putting aside all these scam allegations, what are the physical assets actually left with the company? Let's follow an analytical approach to calculate this. Step 1. Let's remove 100% of the 1.5 trillion rupee fake revenue cited by SEBI. Step 2. Given all these problems, let's calculate the value of the Valcambi refinery that physically exists. Step 3. Let's add the value of the 81 Rajesh Exports jewelry stores in India. Finally, let's apply a 43% discount for this regulatory risk. The actual base for this entire valuation is the Valcambi in Switzerland. This is not a castle in the air. It is a real physical refinery that has LBMA accreditation. They have major clients like central banks. They process a staggering 35% of the world's gold, which is approximately 8,860 tons of gold per year specifically for central banks. Looking at all these calculations, the resulting number is surprising. Even if all of SEBI's allegations are 100% true, the mathematics suggest that the value of these real physical assets could be around 133 rupees per share, which is higher than the current market trading price of 98 rupees. These numbers suggest that the market reacted out of fear that the company had gone completely to zero. Finally, Section 6, Preventing Future Frauds. How to detect such frauds in advance. Even before SEBI took action, there were very clear warning signs or red flags in the market. Specifically, having huge trade receivables with no payments received for over 2 years in improper financial reports regarding foreign subsidiaries, denke mokianis, the stock consistently trading below its 200-day moving average, and not a single professional fund manager investing in this stock. Observing all these would have easily alerted us that something was wrong in the company. This is the point SEBI emphasized very strongly in their document, not providing correct information to investors and hiding truths by creating artificial accounts directly damages the foundations of the market, nations of the market. SEBI gave a very strong warning that such actions destroy the entire trust of investors. Before concluding this deep dive analysis, we must ask ourselves one crucial question. Are investors blindly getting cheated just by looking at those massive revenue numbers on the surface? Why are they forgetting to demand transparent cash flows and real corporate governance? Senpai, this is a live example that makes everyone understand the heavy price one pays for ignoring a company's basic financial health while being under the illusion that some magic is happening. Think about it.
Hello, today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic related to artificial intelligence. That is the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short. In this explainer, we will see in detail how AI can do complex tasks in the real world from the basic level of just generating text. How the technology called MCP helps in this transformation is really very interesting. Okay. Let's see what the real problem is. We know how powerful large language models, LLMs, are. They do coding, write essays, answer complex questions, but historically, they have had a big limitation. They act like a brain trapped in a glass bottle. They do not have a direct connection with live data. For example, if you ask how our company's sales are today, they will go blank because their training has stopped at some point. This is exactly what happens if a genius scientist is locked in a room without any connection to the current world. Before finding a solution to this problem, first we need to understand what this AI integration problem is. If you look at this image, you will get a clarity. This is the biggest headache that software developers are facing. This is called the MMIP-N problem. That is, if you have 10 AI models and want to connect them to 10 different tools, you have to write 100 separate connections in between. This is a very big headache. If you update any one tool, the entire connection will break. This is a huge technical debt, but MCP has completely changed this and brought only one universal standard. That is the MMIP-N solution. Instead of 100 connections, just 20 standard connections are enough. Isn't this very simple? Now let's see what eMCP is, which is actually solving this integration problem. This Model Context Protocol was released as an open standard by Anthropic in November 2024. Since it is an open standard, anyone can use it for free. The interesting point here is that it is not limited to just Anthropic. Tech giants like OpenAI in the sector have also put aside their own methods and accepted this universal interface. It is very rare in the history of AI that everyone comes to the same conclusion on a standard. To give a best analogy for this, we used to use different chargers for different phones. We know how frustrating it was with the USB cable we use. Later, USB came and brought all laptops and phones to a single port. Exactly like MCP does the same. Any AI model, regardless of the company, can be plugged directly into any data source without having to write custom code. This is truly a game changer. Let's find out how this MCP actually helps our language models. To understand how big an upgrade this is, we need to compare it with traditional RAG pipelines. RAG is like giving a large encyclopedia of static documents to an AI and asking it to read them. There are no updates in it, it just reads them, but MCP gives AI a hand in a way. MCP does all this by pulling live data instantly when needed, using tools, and actively completing tasks. This means that this protocol turns a passive chatbot into an active data-aware agent. A common doubt that comes to everyone here is that what about security? There is no need to send sensitive data to the AI public training set like in the old methods. MCP has strong security features like OS 2.1 and role-based access controls. Simply put, if you do not have permission to view a file, even the AI you are using will not see that file. This is very safe in terms of data privacy. Let's take a quick look at how all this magic happens on the back end, and what its technical architecture looks like. Imagine it all as a relay race behind the scenes. Here, our AI app is the host. This host does not directly jump into the database and take data. Instead, it sends requests through secure MCP clients. Those clients approach special servers located near platforms like Google Drive or PostgreSQL. This modular design ensures that the data connection is always organized securely. Looking at this diagram, we can understand how neatly the functions are divided. Here, there are two clear categories: resources and tools. Resources are just read-only data, which is like an AI looking at a map and finding its way. Tools are actions that perform actions, such as creating a file or deleting data. This separation makes AI behavior very predictable and under our complete control. The language that this host client server speaks is JSON RPC 2.0, and this structured messaging system allows this communication to happen very fast and curated, whether the data is running locally on a single laptop or on a remote cloud server somewhere. Theory is good. But let's see how it works practically in the real world with an example. Imagine an AI executive assistant. It has to plan an important meeting. In the first step, it pulls live sales data from internal R&D files without anyone's help. In the second step, the team checks everyone's calendars and finds a time slot that works for everyone. In the third step, it connects directly to the OpenTable server and books a restaurant table. Finally, it sends calendar invites to everyone via a mail client. All this happens completely autonomously in seconds. It's really mind-blowing. Let's zoom out a little and see how amazing the future of agents is going to be with such technology. It's amazing to see the speed at which this ecosystem is growing. From GitHub for writing code, PostgreSQL for storing data, and Slack for communication, the open source community builds a huge network that connects virtually every modern software without any hassle. Look at this number. This is the number of servers developed by the community within a few months of the release of over 5,000 MCP. This means that we can understand how fast this technology is being adopted by tech people. There is no more proof than this to say that MCP has become an undisputed universal standard for autonomous agents. This leaves us with a very interesting thought. The integration bottleneck that has plagued developers for years has finally been solved. AI agents are no longer confined to chat windows but are now interacting with tools with real data and going out into the world. So how many more ways are these autonomous systems going to reshape our productivity in the future? When they can do anything on their own, where are the real limits? Think about it. Let's end our explainer today with this amazing question. See you again. Hello and welcome to today's deep dive analysis. Let's delve deeper into the large language models or LLMs that are ruling the world of technology today. In this exciting journey, we are going to see very clearly how these amazing AI models actually work. What are their main flaws? And how are current engineers overcoming those challenges? Okay, without further ado, let's dive straight into the topic. Think about it. 1.7676 trillion. Yes, that's how many parameters are there in the popular AI model GPT-4 that we often use. Isn't this one number enough to understand the range in which modern artificial intelligence has expanded? This is an unimaginable scale. Our agenda today is very clear. What are large language models? How do they work? What are their limitations? And how are we overcoming those challenges? What will the future be like? Let's see it step by step. Let's first go to the first section. What are large language models? These are everywhere in our daily lives, right? Let's first get an idea of what they are. If we look from 1970 to 2022, we can clearly see how explosively the number of research documents related to this technology has increased. Because for the first time in human history, we are witnessing a miracle that machines can create anything. So what are these large language models? In very simple terms, this is a huge probabilistic model that calculates and predicts the next word in a sentence. This can be considered a very powerful version of the predictive text in our phones. They do not have their own thoughts and understanding like us. But they are masters at sensing patterns in billions of words. Okay, now let's move on to the second section. How do these LMs actually work inside? Let's decode that mechanism. 2017 is a benchmark in the history of modern AI. That year, Google researchers released a landmark paper called "Attention is All You Need" that changed the entire industry. It introduced a new, highly scalable architecture to the world. The architecture introduced by that paper is called Transformer. Unlike older models, it processes data in parallel, all at once. It has a key trick called self-attention. That is, it accurately estimates how much importance should be given to which prime minister in a sentence. We can understand this process in 3 simple steps. First, tokenization means breaking the text into small tokens that the machine can understand. Second, contextual prediction is calculating the probability of which word will come next based on the surrounding words. Third, output generation. Creating a sentence step by step. That's the answer, right? Now let's move on to the third section. The hidden faults and limitations. As wonderful as all this is to hear, we must also talk about the biggest obstacles to these in reality. The first of these limitations is the factual hallucination, which means that these models tell blatant lies with great confidence as if they were 100% true. The second is inherent bias. Since human biases exist in the training data on the internet, the models also show the same discrimination. The third is black box opacity. Even the developers who made it do not always understand why the model made a decision. In this regard, once you look at the data collected by Helsinki University, this study clearly shows that the most serious problems are the results that are not accurate in terms of ethics and security, as well as accidental data leakage. While all this is one height, its impact on the environment is another. 2000%. It is estimated that the carbon emissions in the environment will increase by 2000 compared to a normal web search to process a single LLM query. This is really shocking. There is also a big concern about corporate oversight here. To run these AI models, enormous computing power and cloud resources are required. What this will do is that all this technology will remain in the hands of a few large corporate companies and they will risk ruling it. Now let's see what brilliant solutions developers are finding for these problems in the fourth section: overcoming current AI challenges. The first solution in this is the use of these small language models. Large models can do all the work but use resources excessively. But small models like Mistral 7B are not like that. They reduce the parameters and focus on just one domain. So they can be run on ordinary computers and work efficiently. Very good for the environment. And A masterstroke to curb the problem of lying halogenation is RAG, or retrieval augmented generation. What it does is that instead of relying on old training data, it pulls the latest information from external databases in real time and gives an answer, which greatly increases the accuracy. Also, it is very interesting to know the difference between System 1 and System 2i. System 1 works very fast, but logic errors occur. That is why scientists are now developing System 2i. Although it takes a little time, it analyzes a problem step by step and gives a very accurate answer. This is a big step forward in logical reasoning. Finally, we come to the fifth section. The future of language models. Where is this journey of humans and AI going in the future? The future is going to be with new architectures. Not just transformers, but also their titans and advanced models like Mamba are coming. However, despite all this, human in the loop, that is, a human overseeing the key decisions made by AI, is going to be the most crucial factor for the accountability of this technology in the future. After analyzing all this academic research, that famous dialogue from the movie Jurassic Park definitely comes to mind. Scientists only thought about whether we could create this technology or not. But they forgot to think about whether we should actually create it or not. Where should the ethical boundaries be in this AI development is the biggest question facing humanity now. We all need to think deeply about this. Let us end today's analysis with this.
RAG, AI agents, agentic AI, most people think they are the same thing. That's why Scalar is hosting a free masterclass to break this down simply. In this session, you will learn the modern AI application stack, how embeddings and vector databases power RAG systems, what AI agents are and where they are used. And most importantly, you will understand the difference between RAG, AI agent and agentic AI. Register now.
अगर आप AWS, Azure, क्लाउड यूज करते हैं और कॉस्ट एंड कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी से परेशान हैं। हाय, माय नेम इज मनोज ढांडा, फाउंडर ऑफ उठो, इंडिया का अपना क्लाउड प्लेटफॉर्म। हमने बनाया है देश का क्लाउड, भारत का क्लाउड, जो आपकी कॉस्ट की प्रॉब्लम को कम कर देगा, आपकी परफॉर्मेंस को डबल कर देगा। क्योंकि जब बात आती है इंडिया की, तो बात आती है डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की। तो वहाँ परफॉर्मेंस भी होनी चाहिए, स्पीड भी होनी चाहिए और स्केलेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए, सो दैट यू कैन इनोवेट with the larger models. Our promise is you can build in India, you can scale at the larger level, you can innovate without worry about cloud cost. I invite you to visit utho.com or click nearby in this video link, and our team will contact you for free POC.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام را. تلك آيات الكتاب المبين. إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون. نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين. الغافلين إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت 11 كوكبا